Hi everybody, and welcome to this lesson on looking at Route 53's Management Console. So as you guys can see, I've already logged into my AWS Management Console and I've navigated to Route 53. Again, you can search for Route 53 and you can navigate to the main dashboard for Route 53, where it allows you to do everything regarding your DNS management in AWS. So this is the main dashboard for Route 53. It allows you to see all of the zones that you are currently managing. It allows you to do traffic management, do some health monitoring, and also register domain names right through the AWS console. As you guys can see, if there's additional domain names that you want to register, you can do that right here, or you can transfer your existing domains to Amazon's Route 53, so everything can be managed from one console throughout for your entire organization. So one thing that I do want to show you in terms of Route 53 is creating a different traffic policy, or to managing traffic for different sources. So let's say I want to create a policy where I route traffic based on geography. So people that are in Asia get routed to a certain server, as compared to people that are in the US get routed to a certain server. So there's very intricate policies that we can create through Route 53 to manage our internet traffic. So I'm just going to give the policy a generic name, and again, you can create multiple policies and you would want to name them accordingly, just so you can differentiate what each policy is used for. Additionally, you are also able to add a description on here also. So after giving it a policy name, I'm going to go ahead and click on next. Now here is a very intuitive GUI interface that allows me to create a traffic policy based on certain metrics. So as you guys can see, the starting point is a DNS type. Now I can either start with a IP address, I can start with a CNAME, I can start with a mail exchanger and different DNS records. So depending on where I want to start from. So let's say that I'm going to go ahead and start from an IP address, right? So I'm going to connect to a different types of rules. So I can have a weighted rule, failover rule, geolocation, latency, multi-value, geo-proximity, and a new endpoint, which is the final result. So again, depending on what kind of rule that you would like to create, we can pick either a weighted rule. Let's say 70% of the traffic goes here, 30% of the traffic goes here, and so on. So what I want to do is show you guys is how to create a geolocation rule. So I'm going to select geolocation, and as you guys can see, I can select different locations. So let's say that I want everybody from Africa to connect to this specific endpoint, and I want everybody from, let's say, Asia to connect to this specific endpoint. And again, since I specified an IP address format, I have to specify an IP address, so I'm just going to put in a generic IP address. So what it's going to do, everybody from Africa is going to get routed to this endpoint, this web server. Everybody from Asia is going to get routed to this web server. Now optimally, these should be your elastic IPs that have been assigned to your both of these web servers, depending on where they're located. And optimally, this web server should be located in the African region, this web server should be located in the Asian region, just so we can minimize the amount of latency. Additionally, you're also able to do health checks, right? So we can do health checks for both of these, so we can evaluate the target health to determine if traffic should be routed. So what it will do is it will periodically check the health of these machines, and if the machines are healthy, it will keep routing traffic to this machine. If, for example, the health checks fail, it will automatically revert to the next available healthy machine, which will be the one, which will be the other one, or consequently either Africa or Asia. So let's say this is the generic rule that I want to create for routing traffic. One other thing that I want to mention, you can also import a traffic policy. So if you already have a traffic policy created, you are also able to import a traffic policy in JSON format. So if you want to go ahead and code your own JSON policy in your text editor, you can also do that and import it here. So I'm going to go ahead and create. There we go. So here you guys can see that the traffic policy has been successfully created. Now I have to create policy records for this traffic policy. Now the policy record, again, this is where we're going to specify the hosted zone. Right? For example, Qasim.com or your organization.com that you want to associate this configuration with. Now we can create more than one policy record in the same hosted zone or in a different hosted zone by using the same traffic policy. When you create this policy record, what Route 53 is going to do is going to create a tree of records. The root record is going to appear in the list of records for your hosted zone, and the root record has the DNS name that you have specified when we created the policy record. Now Route 53 is also going to create records for the entire rest of the tree, but it's going to hide them from the hosted zone. Now in terms of the policy record, right, so the DNS name. So when you're creating a policy record, we have to enter the domain name or the subdomain name for what you want Route 53 to respond to DNS queries. So let's say I'm just going to type in a dummy name. As you guys can see, I had already created a dummy.qasim domain name. So right now this would be www.qasim.qasim, but essentially this would be, your organization name.com. Time to live, this is the amount of time in seconds that you want the DNS recursive resolvers to cache information about this record. Now, if you specify a longer value, you're going to pay less for the Route 53 service because recursive resolvers send requests to Route 53 less often. So right now it's 60 seconds. As you guys can see, it's costing $50 per month. But if you were to increase this cost would significantly go down. And I can also add multiple policy records within this main policy. So again, depending on what I want to add, I can add multiple domains, multiple subdomains within this. Now, just keep in mind, if you are practicing, if you do create this and you have an actual domain hosted, which I do not, then you will start getting charged. So just keep that in mind. If you're practicing but still have a live domain hosted in AWS and you can configure a traffic policy live, you'll start getting charged per month. So that's essentially how you would create a policy record. And once you create the policy record, all of the records will show up here and all of the traffic policies are going to show up here. So you can have a number of policies, and again, you can have a number of policy records. Additionally, in the dashboard, you're able to see the different domains that you have registered through AWS or with AWS. You can transfer domains. You can check out your domain billing report. You can also see different pending requests that you have with AWS. So let's say if you register domains, if you sent a request to register, a domain, you're able to see all of those requests live within this dashboard. So again, Route 53 is basically your DNS management system with AWS, in which it allows you to not only customize the traffic routing within your domain or within your web server or within your company's server, but it also allows you to manage specific tasks such as domain registering, your billing, and everything all in one console. So it allows you to have a comprehensive system within the AWS ecosystem.